The road we're on is paved in Garth.
Come along on the journey
as we explore
Garthology.
Think of it more as a conversation. I like that. So if this is truly a conversation, then I say let the conversation begin. Showtime!
Hey everyone, it's Deb.
And I'm Pete.
And I'm Jess.
Welcome back to another episode of Garthology. In today's episode, we will continue our review of Garth's album, Man Against Machine. This is part 3 of our review. If you didn't get a chance to listen to part 2, be sure and check out season 5, episode 2, where we talk about songs 4, 5, and 6. As we discussed in our last episode, Man Against Machine is Garth's return to recording after a 13-year break. Man Against Machine reached number 4 on the Billboard 200 chart and reached number 1 on the Top Country Albums chart, marking Garth's 9th number 1 country album. As we discussed previously, it does have a different tone than some of his other albums, and Garth seems to have sensed that at the time as well. In a press release in October of 2014, a month prior to the release of this album, he is quoted as saying, "Music has always been a reflection of where mankind is at the time. For 14 years, I've watched heart and soul, dreams and individualism, fighting for their very existence in a world of increasing technology. This album is a reminder to all those who dream, work, and fight for what they believe. Do not give up on your vision." And now, looking back at this quote from Garth 10 years later, I think that battle is raging on even more today. Okay, let's get back into the songs. We'll start with Pete. He has song number 7.
I get the 7th song off the album, Rodeo and Juliet.
Into our scene of fair Verona rides a queen from Arizona, fairest in a pairest of blue jeans. Oh, rodeo, oh, wherefore out thou, she knows how to play the part now, the leading role in every cowboy's dream. Rodeo and Juliet, if there's ever been a greater love thou hasn't found it yet. What's to be ought not to be is anybody's bet. Rodeo and Juliet.
Rodeo and Juliet was written by Brian Kennedy and Garth Brooks. The song was never released as a single and never peaked on any charts. This song, in my opinion, is a perfect song for a perfect spot on an album that has been so emotional to this point. The first 5.5 to 6 songs, only because Wrong About You is being so short, I don't know that I can consider it a full song, but the very serious sounding songs, for lack of a better term. But this song is so much fun to listen to. The instruments and the pace of Rodeo and Juliet is fun, fast, and very upbeat. It's a song that can get the dance floor kicked off or kicked into overdrive. Now, listening to this song, when I listen to it, right around the 1 minute and 24 song area, there's a woman's voice in the background of this song, and I don't know what in the hell it's saying. So I did a little bit of research, and I guess it says, "I'll swing it," but I don't understand why, and I don't understand what it means. So if anybody knows, let me know. I did a little research because I really had no idea what the song meant or what he was talking about. While doing that in an interview, Brooks says that the song is a cowboy's look at Shakespeare and his work, a love story between a young lady and a sport she loves. I guess I'm just assuming that's the rodeo. I might be more lost now than I was before, but I do love the song and the tempo. I need some help, y'all. Jess, please help me understand just a little bit better what exactly this song is about.
Okay, well, I'm going to go through what I got out of it, and we'll see if it answers any questions or just makes you have more questions.
Perfect.
So, Garth's voice on this one reminds me of his older up-tempo hits, which I enjoy. And like you talked about with the Shakespeare part of it, it's very clever, I think, and throws in references that most people, I feel like, would get, whether they're very well read on Shakespeare or not, with things like to be or not to be. And it talks about fair Verona. It's very smart how it ties in the Juliet character to the modern day cowboy. Musically, it reminds me of the 90s country music, and watching the couples get really fancy. Did you ever watch like is it the Wild Horse Saloon that was in Nashville that they would film? But anyway, like the people doing the country swing dancing, and they would do lots of turns and flips and just get very fancy with that. This music is very fitting for that kind of thing to me, and it's what it makes me think of. It's interesting to me that the intro seems to pick up mid-song, though. Every time I hear this one, and I remember it as soon as I do it, but like I skip it back, like, did I miss the beginning of that song? And it just seems to pick up a line into the song or something. It reminds me, the beat and the tempo sort of Mark Chestnut's All My Old Flames Have New Names. And I don't know what it was in it that made me think of that, but I racked my brain like, what song is it that this is making me think of? And I finally figured out it was that one. And it is very fast and wordy like that song too. So I think maybe that's the connection that my brain was making. It's such a fun one. It's not a favorite per se, but definitely one that I tap my toes to when it comes on. But I think the point of the song really is just tying in that modern day Juliet to a modern day cowboy and throwing back that story. But Deb, what do you think?
You know, it's funny because I'll go through my notes, but it's very similar to a couple of the things that you said and a couple of the things that Pete said. So just like Pete said, it's a fun swing style song. And with this one following up right after Wrong About You, it's kind of, you know, we have those two kind of back-to-back lighthearted fun songs. So I like that, you know, they kind of go together. And like you mentioned, I love how this one is called Rodeo and Juliet, which is obviously a nod to Romeo and Juliet, one of Shakespeare's most well-known plays. And then I also like, and similar to like what you said, that the lyrics have those kind of Shakespearean type words and phrases. Like the examples I used are "thou'st," "hasn't found it yet," and "what's to be or not to be." And then I really like the line, "the fairest in a pairest of blue jeans." Like, that's funny. So that makes me laugh. And then it's, you know, "Oh, rodeo, oh, wherefore art thou? She knows how to play the part now, the leading role in every cowboy's dream." Like, those are all really cute lyrics. It's a good tie-in to the, you know, the Romeo and Juliet play. And then now, like you mentioned, you said it kind of feels like it starts in the middle of the song. The structure of this one is odd because it's different than what most songs are because it starts with the chorus.
Yeah, maybe that's what it is.
Yeah, exactly. The chorus is the first line you hear. So it goes chorus and then verse and then chorus and then verse and then two more chorus. And that's unusual. You know, usually you start verse, chorus, verse, and so on. So yeah, it's not a normal way of structuring it, but it kind of works for this one. It does make it, I think, a shorter song on the album. It's not the shortest like we talked about before. The one right before this is shorter, but this one is pretty short. So, and it goes pretty quick because it goes chorus and then only has two verses. So yeah, that was funny that we both caught on that it starts in the chorus.
Yeah.
I really like the music in this one, especially the piano break that's at the 140 mark. And then I also like the way the song wraps up at the end because it kind of just wraps up in a cute little bow and ends. And so I like that.
It doesn't say, "Okay, bye."
It doesn't say, "Okay, bye." Well thrown back. So overall, it's a lighthearted, fun song on this album. Like you, not my favorite, but it's a little fluff and it's fun fluff. That's kind of the way I look at it.
All I heard was that if I'm going to understand it better, I got to go read or watch Shakespeare, and that's not going to happen. So I'm just going to, we'll just go on with what I learned here, and that's what we're going to do. All right, well, that's going to wrap it up for Rodeo and Juliet. Jess, what do you got next?
I have song number 8 from the album, which is Midnight Train.
Out track. You can't outrun that one you can't forget. It's like I'm frozen in this street while she's closing, gaining speed. Feel the rum, hear the roar, my heart it crumbles like 1,000 nights before. Driving rain of a midnight train passed through. Wheels are turning. in my soul.
Midnight Train was written by Melissa Pierce and Matthew A. Rossi, and with a runtime of 5 minutes and 19 seconds, it is the longest song on the album. It also was not a single, so it didn't chart anywhere. I actually really, really enjoy this song. Lyrically, it's one of those, like we've talked about before, that paints a very vivid portrait, this one of specifically longing and regret. It opens with a man alone in a hotel room turning to God and alcohol to purge the memory of a lost love from his mind. But then the chorus just kind of rumbles in and it says, the wheels are turning in my soul, her memory's burning black as coal, and it's like I'm chained to a midnight train passing through, all along till it's dawn, then she's gone. The second verse describes the man now on his way again, envisioning the ghosts of love that's dead and gone, kind of in the heat waves, like if he's driving along and you can see the heat rising off the pavement. It describes him seeing like ghosts of past love in those heat waves. And I love the line in that verse that says, you can't outrun the one you can't forget. Musically, this is a very different sound, I think. The beat of the snare drum actually sounds like a train rolling along, and I love that. I love when the music actually is part of the story in the song. And the line, midnight train rolling through, the way he holds out through sounds like a train whistle. And then the chorus kind of goes by, and it sounds like a train going past, the way it gets louder and then softer. It's so smart the way all of that's done. It's just a brilliant use of sound. I love the harmonies. I don't know when I don't love the harmonies, but I have to say I love the harmonies. And there's some really beautiful soft moments in Garth's voice that stand out because the rest of it's so strong and clear that when he has those quiet moments, you really kind of hear it and hold on to it. And I definitely sing along with this one and hold out those long notes myself with him. I won't subject you to that, but I enjoy that time in my car singing to myself. This is one of my favorite songs on this album for sure. Deb, how do you feel about this one?
Well, you know what's funny is if I just said, skip me because you just said everything that I say, but I'm going to go.
Skip me and wrap it up.
I stole all the good parts.
You did. Now I wish I had gone first. Gosh darn it. I thought I made such good points in this. And so I'm going to go ahead and say my notes again.
No, that's
but
okay.
It's going to be very much like what you said. So I too think this is another great song on this album. And my point in this was going to be that seriously, if you out there find that you don't know the lyrics to this song, go find them, read them, listen to the song, and memorize these lyrics because these lyrics are so, so good. And I feel like for some people, I feel like this song may just kind of pass them by.
Yeah.
To kind of reference the lyrics of the song, you just might be getting passed by. So I think you need to go back and look at this again because like Jess mentioned, I think it's a perfectly told story about a man who, when the night comes, he cannot get the thought of this woman out of his head. And like every night, the memory of her just plows through him like a train. And then the morning comes and she's gone. And like you mentioned, some of the lyrics you mentioned, I love the lyric, whiskey bottle on the floor, King James Bible from the drawer, neither one, but Lord, they've done their best. That is just, That's so good. But my favorite lyric, exactly the same one as you can't outrun the one you can't forget. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
That's such a great line. Oh, that's so good. And then here's the other thing, and this cracked me up while you were saying it. I don't know how they do it, but the music sounds like a train passing by to me. Like it just does. I can feel the train going by when I hear this music.
Yeah.
So for me, it's amazing to me how talented these songwriters and musicians are, because how do you write music and then play music that sounds like a train?
Well, and who thinks that up? Who, like, when they're writing the music, the songs are like, what if we made the music sound like a train?
Because, someone had to have done that.
Yeah,
this
they
wasn't
had to
a
have thought
fluke.
about it. Yeah.
Yeah. So I just love that we both picked up on that. Oh, it's so good. And then, like I said before, I just feel like maybe this song gets overlooked, and it shouldn't, because it is so good that if you haven't listened to it in a while, go back and listen to it again. I feel like if it's kind of passed you by and you listen to it again and you really listen to it and really give it a lot of time, you'll feel like you have all new Garth Brooks music to listen to.
Yeah.
Because it's so good. It's so good. Okay, Pete, it's your turn. I'll stop now.
I'll just go ahead and repeat what you guys said. But like, I love the seriousness in the start of this song. Coming off an upbeat, fun tempo song in Rodeo and Juliet, I feel that this song, it just pulls me right back into my emotions on this album. And this album, to me, has a lot of emotion. Like, it grabs a hold of the emotion for me quite a bit. The pace of the song, it just drives into my core. The instruments make it sound like a train in the background. The lyrics are amazing. And the song really showcases Garth's voice. I just love how that sounds. After he sings like a freight train passing through, ooh, like, you mentioned, the tempo of the song just picks up and here we go. Like, I find myself bobbing my head, grinding my teeth. Like, it fires me up for real. And then we simmer. Like, the song simmers, we mellow out, and then bang, here we go again. And it, like you were saying, it's up and down, like it comes back and forth. It's a very, very fun one, in my opinion. It just, like, to me, this song and its placement, the eighth song, it's, in my opinion, just the perfect song, unless, of course, it's overlooked like what Aunt Deb's saying. But to me, it is not. It's the perfect song on this album to pull you back in and get ready for songs 9, 10, 11, 12, and on. Like, it's the greatest spot for this song, I feel, on this album. Just an amazing song, a lot of fun, and just amazing. I love it.
Yeah, that is a really good point with the placement, and I actually hadn't thought about that, but because it does change from the point that we were and the type of music of the previous two songs into this one and then what we're going into. So yeah, that was a really good point. Okay, that's all for this one. So Deb, what do you have for us?
I have song number 9 on Man Against Machine, which is Cowboys Forever.
That one generation, it transformed a nation. As descendants, we all salute you. 'Cause we're cowboys forever. We'll ride together as long as we live and breathe. We're cowboys forever. We've always been, is what we'll always be.
Cowboys Forever was written by Win Varble, John Martin, and Dean Dillon. Most notably of the 3 writers, Dean Dillon has himself released 6 studio albums on various labels and charted a bunch of singles on the Billboard country charts. And he has written or co-written songs for Alabama, Brooks and Dunn, Keith Whitley, Kenny Chesney, Toby Keith, and many others, not to mention over 50 songs for George Strait.
That's crazy.
That's
Damn.
huge.
Holy moly.
Yeah. Like, he just sits down to write something and is like, here you go, that's gold. You can have that.
Right.
Yeah.
There you go. Here's one for you. You take this one and you take that one. But most of them go to George Strait, it looks
Right.
like, which
Yeah.
is amazing.
And by the way, rest in peace, Toby Keith.
Yes.
Big loss.
good
Big loss in the
point.
country.
Yeah, good point. So based on all the work that Dean Dillon has done, he was inducted into the Nashville Songwriters Hall of Fame in 2002. And in 2020, he was inducted into the Country Music Hall of Fame.
Rad.
So obviously, both very much deserved. That's some pretty impressive stats coming from a co-writer on the song.
Yeah.
So
No joke.
well chosen, Garth.
Yeah.
Good job there, buddy.
Cowboys Forever times at 3 minutes, 46 seconds. And as we've said in the past, Garth often has these kind of slots that he fills on his albums. So without a doubt, I think this song is the cowboy slot, kind of in the same vein as like the cowboy song, Night Rider's Lament, the songs that tell the stories of the life of those cowboys, those people out on the plains living that cowboy life. But in this one, the songwriters change it up a little. This time they point out, the life of those cowboys, but they also bring in others like cops and truck drivers and soldiers who are living a sort of cowboy life. And I thought that was a really great connection in this song. I had never imagined it like that, but I thought that was really good to tie those things together. My favorite lyric in this one is "To that one generation that transformed a nation." And I really like the respect that that shows to those who live these kind of lives. The music itself, it's a little too slow for my taste. So I probably prefer the lyrics over the music in this one. This really isn't my favorite song on the album, but it does fit that cowboy slot perfectly. I think Garth is really great at choosing kind of how to fill those spots. So, Pete, it's your turn. What are your thoughts on Cowboys Forever?
Yeah, I've always loved the lyrics to this. I mean, I've always loved the song, I should say. And to clarify that, the song would come on, and it was never one that I skipped. It was always one that I listened to, and I knew the words. Until I went through and I really listened to it in depth, which is one reason why I thoroughly enjoy and love this podcast, is because I look at the songs, I look at the lyrics of the songs and the meaning behind them differently than maybe I did before. Because, like, for instance, this song itself, I would just listen to it and I knew the lyrics and I liked it. But like listening to it now, it has a different meaning or a different vision to me. I've known the song since the day it came out, and the meaning makes so much more sense to me today. The song shows me that America runs on cowboys, the work that they do on ranches. They grow the produce, they grow our food, they raise and drive our cattle. Our country is supported by farmers. And then they brought, like you said, Aunt, the truck drivers into it, right? Well, how do truck drivers come into it? Once that meat is driven and it's processed, it's got to get on trucks. Those truck drivers, they've got to get that food, all the way to our stores. And then, from the stores, it gets to our mouths. And it's crazy to say, like, how much ranchers are like overlooked, I think, in today's day. I mean, for the longest time. And it's been, it's not anything new. And then, they bring cops and firefighters into it, right? Because the cops keep us safe and keep the freedom, and our soldiers, men and women who have served. And there's just so much more to this song and these lyrics, I think, than just a song on an album. I really, really, really love this song so much more now, listening to it and doing the research and understanding the lyrics behind it, because it does tell a story. It tells a story from, like you said, the cowboys out on the plains, and how all of that, it just trickles down, and then it's the next step and it's next step. And we just get to sit at home and throw something, on a grill and enjoy it and love it. And we don't think about like where it came from, right? The hardest thing for us was going to the store and picking it out and then paying the ridiculously expensive prices that we're paying nowadays. But in reality, there was so much more of a journey for this food and these things that we get to enjoy. So, I enjoy the song so much more now, researching it more. So, Jess, what about you?
I love this song, and I like both of you. I think it's one that really does, if you listen to the words, it makes you think more than you think it would. It's just a simple cowboy song, but if you listen to the words, you will kind of go a little deeper, I think, than you probably would have expected. I find myself saying this a lot on this album, but Garth's voice here is just straightforward Garth to me. It's just him doing, I'd say, what he does best, but honestly, I think the man sings anything, perfect, no matter which angle he's coming from. I don't think I've heard him sing something that I would say was bad ever. But he's just right down the line Garth here, and beautiful harmony as always. Lyrically, I love the idea of, like, because we came from cowboys and that spirit's in all of us, that we are them. I always thought of modern collective us as kind of separate from old time cowboys. But the truth is that they're our family, and they're who came before us and who we came from. So we're a few years removed, but those are our great, great, great grandpas, however far back you want to go. And so I think there's a uniting feeling to this song too, which is a common theme in Garth's music, I think, bringing people together, but like sort of a battle cry for all of us, kind of like fists in the air, cowboys forever, like from back then to kind of what we are now. And the music, Deb, like you said, is very cowboy. So that, may or may not be for everyone, but that lonesome fiddle sound is a soundtrack to every good modern cowboy epic, I think. If you look at great miniseries like Lonesome Dove, or any of the movies, if any of you ever saw the Desperado movies in the late 80s, early 90s with Alex MacArthur, this song just fits those kind of movies or series or whatever like a glove. So when I think of cowboys, I think of this music and this sound. It's a beautiful song, and Cowboys forever. It's going to be there forever. I think that's what we should say at the end of our episodes now.
Cowboys forever. And love will always win.
Yes, that's the new ending now. Cowboys forever, and love will always win.
Okay, bye.
All right, now our endings are adding up. We've got
Our
3
endings
now.
getting really long.
Yeah. Hi, welcome to this episode. Okay, bye.
Our entire episode is going to be goodbyes.
Yes, just our outros. One long outro. All right, that's all I had for that one, though. A beautiful song. I love it.
It is a beautiful song. I agree. It's not, the music part is a little too slow for me, like I mentioned, but overall, the song as a whole, it's a very good song. And as I've said, I love this whole album. So to say that the music on this one might not be my favorite still means it's in, the top 30.
Right.
All right, everyone. That's it for this episode. Our continuing review of Garth's 9th studio album, Man Against Machine, where we have now covered songs 7, 8, and 9. Now let's go over to Pete for a shout out to one of our favorite Garthologists.
Shout outs.
Yes, this episode shout out goes to Mary Jane Dake. Thank you for the kind words that you sent us, and we're so happy that the podcast helps see the brilliance in the songwriting and the other side of the lyrics. I am very interested where we can hear some of the music your husband Bill has written. Please send us a message on how we can listen, and thank you for listening to us. We appreciate the support, Mary.
Thank you so much for listening. We really appreciate you.
Thanks for letting us know you're listening and enjoying the episodes, Mary. It's so appreciated.
Have you checked out our website at garthology.com yet? If not, stop by today and check out past episodes and bonus content. And don't forget to subscribe to our podcast on your podcast platform of choice. Hey, if you get the chance, wherever you listen, please stop by and leave us a review and encourage others to listen as well. Then be sure and share us with everyone you know. That way you can help your friends in low places become Garthologists too.
And speaking of friends in low places, if you're on social media, you can find us on our social medias. If you're on Facebook, we are at facebook.com/garthologycast. If you are on Instagram, Twitter, Threads, or TikTok, we are at garthologycast there. So make sure that you jump over, you like, tweet, retweet, share, message, whatever it is that you would like. We do enjoy the interaction, and we appreciate the support over on our socials.
You can hear new episodes of Garthology on the 7th, 17th, and 27th of each month. So please join us for our next episode. Until then,
thanks for joining us for another episode of Garthology. And I'm Deb.
I'm Pete.
And I'm Jess. We'll see you guys next time. Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, everyone. And remember, love will always win.
And Cowboys forever!
Okay, bye!
Finish it! Finish it!
Bloopers.
I don't really know what that word was, but it was a howlum. Wherefore out. I can't even say it.